All right, perfect. All right, guys. So welcome, welcome, welcome to his safe space. It's her edition, guys. And as many of you may or may not know, this is definitely the season finale of his safe space. We've been rocking out this safe space, this created safe space for 6 months now. And it's been absolutely amazing. Um, we're going to pick up on the topic of dating smarter, not harder, because that's a thing. And I just want you to know that um, his safe space, it was designed to give the opportunity for men to have a voice to speak, to talk about things that are relevant surrounding them relationship wise, so we can hear, so we can learn. And so in this space, it's always been about a learning environment for men and women to grow. Although primarily it's been about hearing the voices of men, we haven't just stopped there. It's, we come together, we listen to them, and then we collaborate. We support. And I think that that's very, very huge, because in relationships, what we should do, we should hands down ensure that we are creating a safe space for each other, to ensure that our relationships can grow, they can thrive. But also, in addition to that, we want to ensure that we are creating a safe space as women for our men, because sometimes they do wear the weight on their shoulders, and to be able to have that outlet is amazing. And so if you don't already have me fade, make sure you hit that star next to my name to favorite me. Also, you can connect with me by going to my Instagram, by clicking on my bio at the top of the screen where it says Doc. I am the host. I am Doc. Hello, hello, hello. I have two amazing guests this morning. We have Love with Salt and Educated Flower that's going to join me this morning. I'm so excited about these two ladies joining me to be a part of this. And so I am going to bring up my first guest in a little bit. I want to give some housekeeping rules just for a moment to know. Listen, we are in here to have a good time, talk about a good topic, and just vibe with each other, okay? And so, our bouncers will definitely be working this morning. We're not going to do disrespect, okay? We want to make this a safe space for everybody. So it's very important that we don't have to agree with each other. And guess what? We ain't got to disagree. Be intentional about sitting in a place this morning to be receptive of what you hear from a space of learning. And if you can't grow from it, somebody can. Okay, you know. So it's okay. So I thank everybody for being present this morning. I appreciate you definitely being a part of this time. And I know that every guest that has ever been a part of the show, every man, every woman that has ever come and assembled in this space, appreciates you guys for being present and being, this time. So thank you guys. I will not, if you gift, that's fine. I won't be able to thank you for the gifts. I'm going to have my comments off, so I won't be able to respond to your comments. So I'm going to have my comments off. Everything is going to be going. And let me just do this very, very quick to make sure my gift audio is off. And so I appreciate you guys. So I am going to bring up Love with Salt now. She's going to be our first conversation that we're going to get chopping up with, and welcome her in. Make sure you guys hit her with a fave, guys. Okay. If you don't already, ooh, see, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, good morning, gorgeous. So I'm going to switch over here. Yes. Awesome. You look beautiful. Thank you for the glow this morning. So please, Love with Salt, take this moment to introduce yourself, let people know when you stream, and then also what you have that is going on in your streams that's major for you.
Got you. So I am Love with Salt. The name itself is a play on healing. I believe that love heals all wounds, and salt is also a healing agent. So ultimately, it's about healing. But in my streams, you can find a lot of love and even more flavor. So that's me in a nutshell.
Stuff like that.
My scheduled stream days, I'm scheduled to stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Typically, on Thursdays at 8 p.m., I host a show called Communication is Key. Definitely come
Yeah.
check it out. We will not be having a show today, though. Today, we
Okay.
will not do Communication is Key. Don't fight me, y'all. I'm sorry, but we're going to pick it up
It's
next.
okay. It's
Everything
okay.
everything else as far as my stream is kind of laying out. I'll be on Tuesdays, I'll be on Thursdays. Everything else, you got to get it where it is.
That's good stuff right there. Well, I want to thank you so much. I really sincerely appreciate your time this morning. And I thank you for being willing to come and have a conversation with me this morning in this space as I'm doing this season finale for His Safe Space, her edition. Hello. I have definitely posed some questions for you, and I look forward to your responses to kind of pick your brain this morning. So let's see where we are. And just so that our people that's in here, our viewers know, sometimes like we speak from a place, especially when we are passionate about relationships, that sometimes it may not be about that we're speaking about ourselves, but we may be speaking about things that we have observed about other people, whether it be family or friends as well, as people that we have encountered, that may have similar experience that we can speak up on it. So sometimes it becomes like that educated guess, I guess you could say, too, that kind of like ties the pieces of the puzzle. So just stay tuned and just listen. So the first thing that I wanted to be able to talk to you about is that I believe that people who leave your life when you let go, and when I talk about let go, I'm talking about being vulnerable. They're the ones that aren't meant to be there anyway.
Right.
How have you been able to relax, surrender, and trust someone else to lead you sometimes?
That's a really good question. So, one, I want to say I had to learn to get into that space. It's
Mhm.
not something that I was taught growing up. It's not something that came naturally to me. I had to learn and develop to be able to sit comfortably in that space. Um, and one of the places that came from, my learning in that area came from reassessing what I want, what I say that I want, and what I want for my life. I do want to get married one day, and I do want my husband to be a leader. And
Yeah.
in order for my husband to be a leader, I have to be willing to follow that lead, which means I'm gonna have to be willing to put the lead down and
Yeah.
manage that space. I had to, so that in itself was like, oh, give it up, but I'm so good at it. So that was the
In your singleness, yes.
so, but to if I'm honest about what I want and what it's going to take to get that, I had to learn to put that down. Um,
Nice.
one of the other things in being able to put that down is acknowledging that there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yes.
There's a job that has to get done. We got to get from A, we got to get to C. I may just go A plus B equals C. Boom. But somebody, my husband or whomever else I'm dating, may want to go B plus A equals C. We still get to C.
True.
And
Exactly.
you got to determine whether how you get to C matters that much, matters enough for you to break the relationship if the job is still getting done.
I
So
like that.
I
I
had
like
to
that.
I had to release things being done my way
Yeah.
as long as it's getting done so that I can allow
Yeah.
him to lead in a way that's comfortable to him and
I
natural
like
to
that.
him. So,
I like that.
but also, finally, I'd like to say on that, I think sometimes there's a saying that goes, "You can't see the forest for the trees."
Yeah.
think we get so caught up on these little finite details that we're missing the bigger picture. When it comes
Hmm.
down to it all, who I am and my foundation is built in my relationship with God. So
Yeah.
if I, in this particular small situation, give up the leadership here, whether that works out or doesn't work out, my foundation is built in God, the bigger picture. So
Right.
even if this person lets me down or this situation lets me down, I know that my foundation is solid going in it and coming
Going
out.
in.
So
Mm-hmm.
that
That's
allowed
good.
me the freedom to be vulnerable and to be weak or to be
Mm-hmm.
submissive because I know whether it works or not, my foundation was solid on both ends.
Nice. I love that. I love that. Now, here's something I want you to listen to. Listen to this statement. Until you are a whole and complete person on your own, you will never attract another whole and complete person. Looking over your dating life, do you believe that you can only attract what you already are? And if so or not, explain that.
Um, I would say, on a simple form, no. I feel like an attractive person is going to attract, period. Be it I'm attracting with my looks or attracting with my personality or things of that nature. An attractive person is going to attract. But
Mm-hmm.
I do believe you can only obtain, maintain, and sustain where you are.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I can attract a whole person because I look good and I got the facade up going well, I can attract them, but can I maintain that situation? Can I
That's
sustain
good. That's good. Yeah.
and I don't think you can sustain something that you don't have the capacity for in the first place.
I love that. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, but
You know,
go ahead.
I think that that's a strong suit to be able to focus on as far as the maintenance is concerned. Because a lot of people can go into something and they're not able to maintain it, which means they're more than likely just to get access to the
Right.
person that you're seeing. That becomes a thing too. So that's excellent. Yeah, that's what's up. You know, another point that I want to ask you, all up in your business. No, I'm just playing. It said that your ex will try to reboot the relationship if you let them. Because this is a thing. We're talking about, dating smarter, not harder, right? Your ex will try to reboot that relationship if you let them. What have you done to safeguard yourself from the exes that want to keep wasting your time and stealing opportunities for you to meet the one who wants to be with you
Hmm.
versus the one who don't want to be alone?
Right. Oh,
Because that's
so
the thing.
I said this to a friend yesterday. I'm very
Hmm.
good at ending a conversation.
Ooh,
So
come on.
when it comes to, like, I guess, dating experience, in the same way, in a regular conversation, romantic conversation, I know how to end a conversation, and
I
and I
love it.
can make it. I can be very gentle if I choose to be, but you still gonna know that it's finished.
Mm.
So, for example, a friend of mine and I were at a bar the other night, and this guy kept talking to us about his Instagram, his photography, whatever. And we had engaged him at one point, so I understood he was excited. So, but
Yeah.
after a while, it's just like she and I were trying to have a conversation and couldn't. And he kept interrupting. So at one point, I turned
Uh-oh.
to him and I said, "Hey, what is your name?" And he told me his name, whatever it was. I was like, "It was so good to meet you." And then I turned and went back to my conversation,
Mm.
and he understood that
Yeah, I
conversation.
was like, okay, this conversation is over.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
so if his, let's say his name was Steve. Steve, it was so good
Yeah,
to meet you.
I
I
like that.
enjoyed viewing your work. And then I went back
I
to my
like that.
conversation. And from that point on, he knew that the conversation between he and I and her was closed. And there was no
Exactly.
a blatant, like, nigga, get on my face. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. Thankful we not featured. Go ahead.
But it was kind in my opinion, and it still got the point
Yeah,
across. So it didn't.
definitely.
I don't feel like it left much space for him to keep saying, "Oh hey, yeah, by the way, oh by the way," like, I'll let you know that was done.
Facts.
You know it's done. Back on up. So in the same way, in my relationships, I one love to make sure that I gave my all in a situation, because I feel like oftentimes we may allow someone back into a space because we feel like, well, what if I would have did this instead? So I do all of it
Hmm.
before
Hmm.
I call it quits, so that I have no regret
Yeah,
and have no reason to feel like, well, maybe I could go back and do this differently. So
that's
once
good.
I'm done, it's done.
You done. That's
And
what's up. That's good stuff.
and then I close the conversation. And that doesn't, of course, that doesn't stop them from coming back trying to shoot their shot again at some point.
Absolutely
But
not.
even once they come back, I reiterate the closure of that conversation, and they usually leave it alone from there. But for
That's
if you're not comfortable doing all that, there's always a block button. Block them. I typically don't need
yeah.
to block, but if you block them,
If all else fails.
if all else,
If all else fails, okay. Um, the next point, the health of friendships, because this is the thing. So the health of your friendships, including the ones with men, because this is huge, depends on your health, the health with you. Here's the question: can men and women ever really just be friends?
I like this question. And also, I like a good definition. So I went and got a definition of friendship.
Well, come on and define that thing, baby.
So this is what a friend is. A friend
Mhm.
is a person who knows a person you know, or and someone who you have a mutual bond and affection with. A
Mhm.
person who acts as a supporter by giving help. A person who is not an enemy. I think that yes, men and women could be friends. Now,
Mhm.
often the argument that I hear is just like, if someone's attracted to you, that they can't be your friend. It is possible. One, I want to say it is possible to do two things at once. I can support you
Facts.
and I can like you. I don't have to
Mhm.
support you because I like you. I
Exactly.
like you and I can support you, and they don't have to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
intertwined. Now, I could also, now it does become a problem if I'm only supporting you because I like you and I want you to respond to me a certain way.
Yes.
If my
Yes.
behavior towards you isn't authentic, then that's a problem. But I
Yeah.
don't think every time someone likes you that they're only supporting you because they like you. There's only a mutual bond and connection because they like you. So,
Right.
in my opinion, to say that a man and a woman can't be friends, kind of like you were talking about a person's health, they just may not be at a space in their lives where they have the capacity for that type of
Right.
friendship. And
Mm.
you can only sustain, once again, you can only sustain what you have the capacity for. And that
Absolutely.
that may not be a space for everyone.
I love it. I love that response. I love that. Okay. So now here's the last thing that I'm going to pose to you before I drop you out of the box and bring up our next guest. When I was growing up, and I hope I'm not aging myself, but when I was growing up, Barbie needed Ken to
Mhm.
buy her dream house, or even to build that thing. Okay. What have you learned about your singleness and dating with the freedoms that you have that give you the power to choose what you want?
I mean, either you're not aging yourself or I am also aging myself. But Barbies and them women, damn. I was playing Barbies was my jam. I was playing with Barbies till I was like 14 years old.
See?
But
Okay, now.
I love me a good Barbie.
See, a good
Uh,
Barbie. Listen, I'm telling you, we was about
but
that life.
right. But as far as ask me that last part of that question again.
Sure. So the last part of it is that with your singleness and dating, with the freedoms that you have in your singleness and how you've moved in your dating,
Hmm.
um, these freedoms have given you the power to choose what you want. What have you learned about this journey about yourself?
I, what I've learned is just being authentic to myself. I've got to
Mm,
be authentic to myself, and everything
yeah.
else around me, if I'm true to myself, everything else around me just will fall into place. I believe that we all have different purposes that we serve in our life. And if I'm authentic to myself and of the purpose that is specific to me, that gives me the power to choose what is conducive to accomplishing that goal. And
Nice.
because
I
that is
like
the highest priority for me, I can't just accept anything. Like for me,
absolutely.
I'm a giver. So
Hmm.
I need a man that's going to be generous. If you
Okay.
if you're that guy who's like, oh, I ain't giving them none of mine because they can go get it themselves, cool. That's not for me. I'm not
Yeah.
foolish in my giving, but if God says give it, it's gone. And if you can't handle
Exactly.
that, then you're not for me.
Absolutely.
So I have
Yeah.
to, in order to accomplish what has been laid before me, I have to be honest about what it's going to take, and I have to be honest about whether or not you fit that space
Ah, that's good.
and
That's
whether I
good.
can
I
fit
love
that
that.
space in your life. So
Yeah.
it's not always the easiest thing because yes, there is a desire for companionship, but and yes,
Hmm.
I guess people are available, but I can't just take any old thing if the goal is really a set
I
destination.
love that. I love that. I love that. Well, Love with Salt, this is our time for this moment. I am going to bring you back up later for our crosstalk, but you can exit yourself from the box. This has been amazing, guys. Listen, y'all make sure y'all hit her with a fave. She is amazing. Her salt, her talk show that she has, she does a phenomenal job about it. So y'all make sure you hit her up with a fave. You don't want to miss out on that opportunity. I want to take a moment to kind of like go on this journey because as we're doing this, dating smarter, not harder. This is really a thing, and many of you know that I am on a journey myself to where I'm getting back into the swing, trying to make sure I put my feet in the water and see if the water is warm, like what's going on in the pool. Like, that's a whole thing. And I wanted to go over some things real quick before I bring up our next guest that can be really really helpful for you. So one thing that I want to say is your standards are not too high. Your boundaries are not too strong. Your expectations of being treated well and with respect are not too unreasonable. You don't want too much and you're not asking for too much just because you want loyalty and ask for honesty. Anyone who makes you feel like you are too much is simply not enough for you. Hello? Listen, don't lower your standards to accommodate those who refuse to raise theirs. If they can't meet you at your level, then perhaps they shouldn't get to meet you at all, because that is a thing. One thing that I have learned on this journey, and I know this to be an absolute certainty, is this: you should never have to wait around for someone to love you back. You should never have to wait around for someone to be ready. You should never have to wait around to love you the way you deserve to be loved. Hello? You should never have to wait around for someone to make their intentions and feelings clear. You should never have to wait around at all. True love is a ready love. True love is sure. True love is crystal clear. Anything else, in Doc's opinion, isn't love. I hope y'all enjoyed that. I got a little bit more a little bit later. So, listen, I am going to now take a moment to bring up our next amazing featured guest. Y'all, I hope y'all are enjoying the show. I am Doc. I appreciate you guys for being here. Our next guest is Educated Flower. You guys make sure you hit her with a fave. Remember, my comments are off, so I'm not able to see what's going on, and I hope y'all are on y'all's best behavior down there, okay? But this is the Educated Flower. Make sure you hit her with a fave. Educated, please take time to introduce yourself and then also talk about when you stream and what you have going on in your streaming world.
Okay, so I stream regularly on Mondays. I have a show called Mindset Mondays. Just started. We did two shows so far, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And essentially, it is topics around mindset and how we can shift our mindset and listen to different perspectives, schools of thought. We uplift diversity of thought, and we're open to having dialogue. Not all of us think the same, right? So I want us to all chime in on a variety
Facts.
of different topics. Yeah.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So y'all make sure y'all hit educated with a fave. And so we are going to like I know you guys see. I really appreciate both Love with Salt and Educated Flower being present, and I appreciate it because we deem ourselves. I've seen how we're really these conversationalists, and so I really appreciate you giving up your time and coming in to add value to his safe space. So thank you guys both. So the first point that I'm going to ask and pose to you this morning is this. It is said that one is the loneliest number, honey. Or is it? Is one the loneliest number? What have you learned about embracing your singleness,
Mhm.
being comfortable in solidarity, and enjoying your own company? Talk to us about that.
So for me, there's definitely a difference between being alone and being
Mhm.
lonely, right?
Yes.
So lonely is, lack of support system, lack of friends,
Ooh.
lack of family, lack of people around you that'll make you great and support you through good, bad, and in between.
Yeah.
Singleness, in my opinion, is not loneliness. You are alone. You're with yourself, but you're not lonely. So singleness is a time for you to really thrive and do the things that you want to do and pour into yourself and heal, recharge, rejuvenate.
Yeah.
Anything that you want to do, you can do that as being single. And I think being comfortable in your singleness, I think it's a prerequisite for future things. If relationship was in your future, if somebody did come across, at least you're solid in your singleness and happy
Yeah.
within yourself and that inner peace. So I don't think, that one necessarily is lonely. You could be alone, but, being comfortable in your own solidarity and enjoying your own company, that is the goal when you're single.
I
Um,
like that.
yeah, that's why.
That's good. That's a good answer. Okay. So now so here's another key point. Life is precious and should be lived to the very last drop. Life
Hmm.
is precious and it should be lived to the very last drop. Whether you are walking alone or with a partner. Have you ever found yourself waiting for other people to celebrate you in your life?
So I've learned that in my past, I've been guilty of
Okay.
that. I've
That's
waited
fair.
for other people, to care
Mhm.
and to celebrate
Yeah.
me and all that stuff. And what I've learned is that you need to celebrate yourself. Um, you
Mhm.
need to, find ways to uplift yourself. If you've hit major milestones, if you've achieved something, don't be afraid to maybe, you know, take yourself out. Maybe,
Yeah.
celebrate with yourself for your own
Yeah.
achievements. Um,
Yeah.
Document it, have a gratitude journal. Write about all the things that you're grateful for, the things that you've accomplished, the things that you've been through in life. Because if you don't care about yourself, unfortunately, nobody else is going to care about yourself, right? So once you
Mm-mm.
start caring about yourself, and you start
Yeah.
shooting that, um, then people eventually probably gravitate to that and celebrate with you. But it starts with you. So that was a life lesson that I
I
actually
like
had.
that. I,
Yeah.
I actually, I mean, I like that. I like that because I feel like that on this journey,
Mhm.
we should be learning and growing. So to get to that place to where that is revealed about yourself and that's your truth, and now, because we talk about this, putting these things into practice for us now. Everything that we're learning, we should be putting these things into practice and applying them, especially if they are for our good. So I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
Okay. So here's another thing. I believe that a man who side chicks you, because that's a thing. So listen, ooh, okay. I believe that a man who side chicks you, who juggles you with multiple other women, and who offers you nothing but dishonesty, shadiness, and unfaithfulness is not a man who truly wants to be with you. And that's just real. What have you done to safeguard yourself from settling for fast food love when you know you deserve 5-star love? because that's the thing.
I want to start off by saying that there's no right or wrong answer to this.
Yeah.
Um, Safeguarding yourself, you can take precautions, right? You can be cautious.
Mhm.
But in my opinion, if someone's going to be dishonest and shady and unfaithful, in my opinion, I don't think there's anything you can really do to safeguard yourself. You can be
Okay.
cautious, you can proceed with cautious, and you can move with intention. So for this one, I found it was a little bit of a tricky question here, but like,
Hmm.
um, for me, I move with intention. I let my intention known. I'm someone that always speaks from my heart and my soul about things, whether
Yeah.
it's going to look good on me or bad on me. I'm being me. I am comfortable with being
Nice.
me. Whether it's going to work in that situation or not, at least I know I honored myself and I was authentic to who I am or where I am in
Nice.
my journey or in my process.
Nice.
So if the person is shady, dishonest, they're not being authentic, in my opinion, it's going to come to light, regardless of how
Mm.
I, as long as I'm moving in intention, as long as I'm moving in faith and I'm not functioning in fear and self sabotaging, I think that, you know, that will just reflect in the organic, how we organically flow and how we organically come together.
I like
Um,
that.
so I don't know if I have necessary steps on how to safeguard, but
It's
I'm
okay.
very intentional and I'm very genuine and authentic with everything that I do. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. What's not meant for
It
me is
doesn't.
not meant for me.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Good answer. Man, y'all are rocking it out this morning. So listen, if if a man wants to be with you, he will simply be with you.
Mhm.
Like to me, it is like that simple. Like if he wants to be with you, he will be with you online and in real time. Like that's just the reality, right? It's not rocket science. It's not a gray area. It's black and white to me. It's very cut and dry. In your dating experience, have you ever found yourself in a relationship where you were completing obstacle courses to be with a man?
Yes, yes.
See?
I can say that I've had a positive experience with it, and I've also
Oh,
had experiences with it.
mm,
So the way that I look at it is it's refreshing to see that there are men out here taking dating and relationships seriously, right? So
serious.
whether it's in the form of
Yes, yes,
tests, they're being intentional,
yeah,
they're trying to, you know, put you in certain situations to see how you're going to react and all that stuff. That's actually
yeah.
good. It depends on
Nice.
what place is it coming from? Is it coming from a pure place? Or
Yeah,
is it coming from a place of toxicity? Like, are you trying to just make sure that this is not
I
your
love
last
that.
girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
like your
Mm-hmm.
ex? Or are you
Yeah,
trying to be like, okay, this is who I am and I need to know who is compatible with me, right? So there's two
nice.
places. So I've seen it happen where it was a positive experience. This person knew themselves, they knew what they wanted for themselves, they've been through things, and they just want to make sure that this person is the right fit for them.
Yeah.
So I've been in that situation where it was healthy. It's from a healthy place. It's
Mm-hmm.
not easy. It's still not easy.
Mm-hmm.
You're still
Yeah.
gonna be tested.
Right.
You're
Facts.
still gonna be pushed and be
Facts.
like, "Okay, this is a little bit too much."
Listen.
I've been in situations where those tests were toxic. Like, you know, they were just putting you in these just unsafe situations. They were comparing you with
Mm-hmm.
unhealthy people,
Yeah.
comparing you with, you know, like somebody that you wouldn't even want to be with, right? So if that's
Right.
who I have to compete with, then no, that like I don't want to be tested in that way. So it depends on the place in which it's coming from, in my opinion.
I love that. I love that answer. Okay.
Mhm.
So here's our last point before we chop it up and get to our crosstalk. Y'all know I always talk about vetting. So,
Okay.
for me, a key part of vetting includes the possibility of having to break up with the person you thought may be ideal for you. And that's just real.
Hmm.
How have you safeguarded yourself on losing potential love interest without losing yourself?
Now that's a hard one. I would start by saying knowing that I'm enough being confident in the fact that I'm enough. I'm not perfect, but I strive for excellence and I do try to improve, continuously grow, which is a lifelong
Love it.
journey. Knowing, starting off with
Mhm.
knowing that I'm enough is where I would start. And again, what's meant for me is what's meant for me. And I'd rather be hated for, who I am than to not.
Authentic.
Just
Yes.
authentic. Because this vetting thing can, I don't know if I've perfected vetting, to be quite honest, if I'm going to be really introspective.
It's ongoing.
It's ongoing, it's trial and error. Everybody's different. You're going to be faced with different people, different challenges, different life scenarios. And honestly, I just have to bet on myself. Like, I literally just have to trust in
Yeah.
myself
Mhm.
that I know what's right for me.
I love that.
Um,
I
so I
love
don't know if
that.
I have a checklist necessarily. I don't know
No.
if I
Mm-mm.
steps
That is most
to tell
excellent.
somebody. Um, but I think if you're being true to who you are and what makes you feel good and what feels right, the moment you are no longer feeling right about yourself, you're not feeling loved, you're doubting yourself, you're questioning
Mhm.
your worth, those are not the things that, in my opinion, would be the right fit for you. But if you're being challenged and if you're being pushed to grow and if you're being told like or encouraged to grow in a positive direction, that might
Mhm.
be the right fit for you.
Nice, nice.
Mhm.
I love that. Good answers. Man, amazing, amazing, amazing conversation. So, at this very moment, I am going to ask for Love with Salt to come and join us. We are going to now have a panel discussion. To all our viewers in here, thank you so much for being present. This is his safe space where we kick this off on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You may or may not know that this is actually the season finale, and this is her edition. So I'm so grateful that these ladies are joining me to really solidify this and put the icing on the cake because the cake has been baked, honey. The men have done a phenomenal job of presenting, and we have truly learned and grow from the things that they have presented over this journey. So I feel like that this is definitely the icing on the cake. So thank you, ladies, for being present with me. And so we're going to jump in and have this crosstalk. Um, I being on this platform, mm, I hear the terminology narcissistic. Oh, they're narcissists. They this, and that. So a lesson that I have learned by being on this app is that people misuse that word a lot. There is a such thing as a narcissistic personality disorder, and there's also a thing that is called borderline personality disorder. And I think that people can confuse some of those, right? If being with a person is in any way causing you to sacrifice your peace, mental health, your friends, your confidence, your happiness, your family, your faith, your dignity, your self esteem, your self worth, your well being, or yourself, all of you, they are not the one for you.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that, ladies? Go ahead, educate.
I think again, it starts with being true to yourself. So the moment you start seeing that you're now operating outside of what that is, and you are doubting yourself and all those things that you said, that's an unhealthy place. What you mentioned are hitting me at the same time because some people can have narcissistic traits but not be
Yes.
narcissistic. They could be
Mm-hmm.
broken people as well, right? So if you're broken and you're working on yourself and they're broken and they're working on themselves, you could inadvertently be triggering each other.
Each other.
Not that
Mm-hmm.
they're narcissistic, but that their traumas and your traumas are just coming together and they're clashing.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you just need to align back with yourself. Like, who am I? What fulfills me? Am I growing? or am I regressing? I think that's
That's
the
good.
best way that I can look at it because we
That's
can't
good.
diagnose. We just can't.
Absolutely. You can.
But we
I
know
agree.
what feels wrong and we know what feels right if we tune into ourselves, if we really like check in with ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
is this what I'm signing myself up for? Or is this
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like, can I continue to maintain this? Or is this
Mm.
like work in a good way is like I'm growing and they're
Right.
challenging me to be better. Year over year, I'm a better person.
Hmm.
But if it's like, no, this is work and I feel like I'm behind the eight ball all the time and like I can never seem to get things right, that might not be the right person for you,
I
in
like
my
that.
opinion.
I like that.
Hmm.
Love.
How do I add to that?
It's like that was good. Huh?
I mean, I feel like the question in itself was already good. Like, if just reiterating what you had already said and what Educated said, if it's causing so much distress in so many areas, then yeah, that's probably just not right for you.
Yeah.
But as far as the labels go, um, unfortunately, like life happens in trends, and
Facts.
narcissism and things of that, and these different disorders are trending words right now.
Yes.
The frustrating part about a trend is that oftentimes someone hops on the bandwagon long before going to look into what they're talking about.
Right.
You heard the word, it sounded good, and now you're using the word, but you don't have an accurate definition of
Exactly.
what it actually is.
Exactly.
Well, so and so said it was this, and I like them, so they wouldn't make up a definition, but they also may have, telephoned a definition from someone else.
Exactly.
So, I think, especially since we aren't professionally trained to diagnose anyone with anything, I
Mm.
think we should worry less about labeling a person a narcissist or labeling someone bipolar or whatever. Don't label them anything.
Right.
Just like Educated said, know yourself, know what is conducive to where you're trying to go. And regardless of what you want to call it, if they don't fit, they don't fit. You
Period.
cannot fit because of this label. You cannot fit because of your sex. You cannot fit because of
I
your
like that.
lifestyle. It don't matter why you don't fit. A don't fit, don't fit. Stop trying to make it fit. And slapping a label on it is not really going to do you any good or them any good. And I think we need to be cautious where we throw labels at.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Great answers, ladies. I like that. Okay. So the next point that I'm going to make is that I have dealt with a lot of heartbreak in my time. A lot. But behind every big emotion that comes along with a big loss is an even bigger lesson. What is one lesson that you have learned through having a broken heart? I'm going to start with you, love.
That's such a heavy layered question.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've learned through a broken heart, and I hope that to some degree we all learn through
Yeah.
these situations, is coming back to self and reanalyzing and re-looking at where I am and what are some of the things that got me to the space. Not
Mhm.
necessarily what the other person did, because let's just say once again that that other person didn't fit.
Yeah.
Why did I stay so long and make myself vulnerable and submit to a space that didn't fit me
Nice.
to get me to this place of brokenness now? So it goes back into real analyzing self and then fine tuning that vetting process so that I don't end up in that situation again. But and one of the things that I've personally had to learn through that experience is that so I used to deal with abandonment issues,
Okay.
and as a result of that, I didn't avoid relationships, but I didn't necessarily seek out relationships that would be successful
That's a good one.
because I already knew in the back of my mind subconsciously that it wouldn't be successful. I didn't have to all the way attach. So
Right.
I couldn't get my feelings hurt because I wasn't all the way attached because I knew it wouldn't be successful. So I was essentially just setting myself up for
Wow.
failure
Wow, that's
because
huge.
I was
Yeah.
too scared to attach.
Mm.
But then over time, spending time, having sex, things of that nature, you attach
Mm.
anyway.
You do.
So now,
Yes, you do. Yes.
so now I had attached myself to a situation that I knew from jump wasn't going to work in the first place. So now I'm attached to this thing that wasn't going to work. And now my heart's broken because I attached to something that
Because you
wasn't going to work.
attached to
I told
it.
myself I wasn't going to
Right.
attach. I knew it wasn't going to work.
Wow.
Huge system of failure.
Yes. Yeah. Man, thank you for
So
your transparency.
eventually I had to deal with those abandonment issues and acknowledge the fact that you knew from day one that that would never have worked, and you went
See,
into it anyway.
you
So
did it
now,
anyway.
if I'm going to venture into a relationship, I only want to venture into what works. And if I'm not ready to venture into that, then I need to stay single. So that was one of my biggest epiphanies, like in the last year. So
Mm,
this realization only just came to me in the last year.
I love it. I love that growth. And I will read it just so you got it on point, educated. Um, what I was posing is what is one lesson you have learned through having a broken heart? That's the question that we're asking. And thank you so much for your transparency, love.
Saul said it all because
Didn't she? Like, just take all of that. She flavored that thing.
I
Just a little,
choosing the wrong person for me. That's not the right fit for me.
Yeah.
So again, abandonment issues, all that kind of stuff. And it's realizing that and learning from that. But just to add to what she said, another thing is knowing that you can love again. Like
Yes, you can.
heartbroken, but that next love, because I find that the
Mm.
next love after
Oh
that
yeah.
is
And
like
I can't wait,
so
y'all.
much
Oh,
harder.
sorry. Uh-huh.
Because like you already know going in what you are capable of and how you can love that person, and you have so much love to give, and when it hits you, that's a beautiful thing. The fact that you can love again.
Yeah, I
um
love it.
that's the one thing that I've noticed, because again, I've been through a series of heartbreaks as well.
Yeah.
um I know that it's you're capable of finding that true love for yourself. Like I'm
That's
still
so
very hopeful. I haven't given up on finding love at all.
that's so
So
real. That is so real.
mhm.
Excellent. Thank you. Like I said again, thank you, ladies, so much for your transparency. It's very, very refreshing, and I really appreciate you. Um, the next question that I have for you, and point, of course, is the thing about closure. Ugh. The thing about closure is it can come one day at a time, and sometimes it's the time, closure is like a gift that you give yourself. That's my opinion, right? Sometimes people will give it to you, but most of the times I believe that closure is the gift that you give yourself.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts about? Because again, we're talking about dating smarter, not harder. What are your thoughts about closure um, in this space?
Closure is a hard thing. I know for me in past relationships, I wanted the closure. I needed to have the conversation. I needed to, figure it all out. And I realized that, like, even if you do have that conversation, you still don't get the closure.
Mm.
It's still gonna hurt. It's still gonna sting. It's still gonna, you know what I mean? You just have to literally suck it up and say, you know what? What's meant for me is meant for me. If this didn't work out, keep moving. Like you just have to keep moving.
Yeah.
Um, because sometimes you never get that closure. You can have that conversation over and over and over again and still not feel closure. I don't even know if it's a feeling. I don't even
Yeah.
know what it is, to be
Yeah.
quite honest.
Which is
Like
why I
what
feel
is
like it's a gift that you give yourself.
right? Like what? Like closure on what? Like what exactly? I think it's an emotion. I think it's the heartbreak that you're trying to cope with, and you're hoping that there's something that they can say or do
Mm.
that's gonna feel less um, torn or
Yeah.
heartbroken.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like if it's not meant to be, it's just not meant to be, and
It's just not meant to be.
you just have to keep
That's
pushing.
real. That's real.
right. I
Love.
think closure is something you have to give yourself. I think when you're ending a relationship,
Yeah.
that dependence, that codependence that you guys have built upon each other to, counting on this person to be their support and this, that, and the other, y'all are ending the relationship. It's no longer their job. It's no longer their responsibility
Mm,
to hold you up in that space.
yeah.
So when you're seeking closure from someone else, you're still trying to put the responsibility on
On
them to
someone.
make you feel better, and that's
Yeah.
no longer their responsibility if the
Hmm.
relationship is ending. I think we've been, and I don't know how everybody gonna feel about this thought, but I feel like we've been tricked into believing that knowledge is power. And
Mm.
so we go asking questions, hoping to get more
The
answers,
knowledge.
and like Educated said, that we'll feel better after we get more information. But all that more information does is have you asking more
Keep
questions.
seeking. I like
Are
that.
you're just going to keep going indefinitely. So that more knowledge in this particular instance is not the answer, because what it really boils down to is like, well, why didn't you do this or why didn't we do that? Even if you get the answer, once you get an answer, it's a matter of, oh well, then now that we got an answer, now we can work on it, now we can work through it, now we can continue the
Mhm.
dysfunction that we're trying to put into. So more information, and if you either get to that point where you're trying to continue something that doesn't need to be continued, or you get to the point where the person's like, I don't like you anymore, I don't love you
The
anymore, I
harsh.
don't
The harsh.
be with you anymore, and
Yeah.
now you're even more hurt than what they were before.
Yeah. So just cut
So
it
I
off and be
definitely
done.
believe that closure is something you have to give to yourself, because it's no one else's responsibility anyway if the relationship's already coming to an end.
I love it. Oh, goodness. Okay. So this is the last question that I have for you, amazing ladies. Y'all have been, I mean, some rock stars up in here with your transparency and vulnerability. So thank you yet again. Um, I believe that this is our season. Now is the time to step into and own our worth. What have you decided that you're worth more than you've been settling for in the past? We know we've gone through some things and we know that there's been some settling back there. But
Oh
what
yeah.
have you decided about your journey in your right now that you're worth?
So I've decided that I can no longer settle for not being a priority, like a high
Mm,
priority. I don't want to be on the back burner. I don't want to be an afterthought. I don't want to be like, okay, I got everything else done. Oh, let me see how Persina's doing. Oop, I said my
see,
whole name.
it's okay.
But no, I ain't doing it.
Not doing it.
But I
Yes.
ain't doing it. Like, so there's that phrase people use, like, oh, so and so, you looking like a snack. No, baby, I'm a feast.
Okay.
And
A
if you're
whole
not
feast.
hungry, go on over there to the bodega, get you a bag of chips.
Facts.
If you if you cannot
Facts.
prioritize me, then I don't want it. And but in addition to that, I also don't want to put anyone else in a situation where I can't prioritize them.
Come
I've
on.
recently come to the realization that I what I'm doing right now is very much on purpose, and it deserves my undivided attention.
It does.
And as a result of that, I don't want a serious relationship right now, because the person I
Respectfully.
want to be with, I also want to give him my undivided attention, as opposed to giving him partial attention and give what I'm working on partial attention. And now both things that I'm supposed to have are unsatisfied because it's
Mm.
divided.
Yes,
So with
that's
that
good.
said, I won't settle for not being a high priority, but I also won't put anyone else in a position to where they're not a high
Nice.
priority for me.
I like that. Okay. Educated, same thing. What have you decided that you're worth more than you've been settling for in your past?
I agree with everything that you just said. What I was thinking of saying was appreciation, but the way she put it was so eloquently
Hmm.
put. Um, Appreciation, understanding, respect, and acceptance. Like those
Yes.
things, that's it. That's it right there. that's the backbone of building trust with somebody.
That's what's
Um,
up.
I couldn't have said it any better than how Salt said it,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's so real.
excellent. Listen. Um, I thank you, ladies, so much for really, truly bringing this all together and helping me to create this safe space. This morning, this day, this season finale. You did an amazing, excellent job. Thank you. You guys make sure thank you have loved on them. Thank you for showing them love. Please hit them with the fave if you have not already hit them with the fave. I'm going to give you both a moment. Please tell them about your shows one more time. And then when you're done, you can exit yourself out the box. But thank you so much. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I appreciate you.
Well, I am Love with Salt. I'm scheduled to stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, I do a show called Communication is Key, and we talk around different facets of communication. There is no show today for you guys that are used to having a show on Thursday. There's no show today. I'm sorry, but we're going to pick it up again next week. So yeah, no show today. Sorry, cupcake. But Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, communication is key. I'm also on Tuesdays. Everything else is lanyap, so you just kind of got to get in where you fit in.
Yeah, that's what's up. Okay, you can go ahead and exit yourself out.
And for me, I have a show on Mondays called Mindset Mondays, every Monday at 8 p.m. I'm looking for guests. Feel free to inbox me, let me know. That particular show is built around topics around mindset and how to shift our mindset and probably unlearn some of these unhealthy thought processes that we may have, or expand our mind and just look at things differently and open our minds to, different schools of thought. And then throughout the week, you may be catching me, sporadically streaming, but my scheduled time is Mondays at 8 p.m.
Awesome. Great. Okay, you can exit yourself out the box. Listen, to all you amazing people who are in the stream, thank you for being on this journey with me. It has definitely, in my opinion, it has been a labor of love. It has truly been a labor of love. I want to thank these ladies for being a part of His Safe Space, her edition, as this is the season finale. We've been rocking this thing out for 6 months, y'all, and I feel like that we've definitely done it a great service of presentation, and it's something that was truly, truly needed in our singleness and definitely on this app. Before I put up the box and we get off into some more conversation, because I know y'all probably want to engage a little bit more. I want to give some more points before I close out again. Listen, yes, you will have to work for the things you want, but you will never have to force the things you want. You'll never have to force them. This is where people tend to get tripped up, whether it's a relationship, a friendship, a dream job, whatever. If you're working your fingers to the bone for it and sweating and stressing and plotting and planning to make it yours, it's not for you. What is for you will flow towards you. I believe that with my whole heart. What is not will flow away from you. Never resist the current. If it's not yours, you don't want it, and trust me, let it go. I want you to also know this: people are not band aids, relationships are not band aids. You don't need another person to heal the damage that the last person did. You need self care and therapy and time. Give yourself that time. Love when you're ready, not when you are lonely. And now, ladies, I have this. This is my last point, and we're going to be out of here rocking. Ladies, here's the thing. And y'all are my little cliche sayings. Here's the thing. If a man has to consider whether or not he wants to be with you, he doesn't want to be with you. Stop letting him waste your time and move on with your life. You deserve someone who is so sure of you, they can't wait to make you theirs. Not someone who treats you like an option instead of making you a choice, because that is a thing. And it is that simple. So, this is his safe space, guys. Thank you so much for being present, being here. Definitely gonna probably post some of these nuggets that I have dropped down here today. This, like I said, this has been a labor of love for me, and I a lot of times, like, we are in this moment, in this hour, and um everything flows good, but it takes so much energy behind the scenes to make this stuff happen, y'all. It really, really does. It takes a lot of energy and time, and that's major when you already have, a business and other opportunities that you have going on in life beyond just being on this platform. But I really sincerely want to thank you for being present, for being here. If you do not already have me fave, make sure you hit that star to fave me. You can click on my bio at the top where it says Doc. Go there on Instagram. You'll have access to me. Please note that I will be posting this information on this page that I have, Instagram Doc Streams, but I will also be in more strategic posting on my When Doc Speaks, which is truly my labor of love. I am going to now open up this date box because maybe y'all want to get all up in here and have a conversation. So I'm going to open up the box. Listen, thank you for the gifts. Before I do that, let me take a moment to thank my top 10 Nisi Baby, Cupcake, Fox, Yamada, Love with Salt, Joycey Joyce, Chosen, Sapio, Picasso, and Marquis. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to everyone who has gifted the stream. But more importantly, thank you for every person that has been here engaging. And definitely thank you to the amazing ladies that has